Hello and welcome to today's class. We're going to be doing drills today, assuming that you watched the previous class, you already understand the technique, and we're going to drill those techniques to get a good workout in and to, of course, raise our physical proficiency. We're going to start off today by doing a warm-up. We're going to do shadow boxing for 1 minute. Now, when we do shadow boxing, all that really means is I'm going to throw whatever techniques I want to throw, kicks, punches, knees, anything you want to, elbows, as long as you're moving around, practicing good footwork, stepping and dragging, things of that nature. You can hit as hard as you want to and just keep moving for a whole entire minute. We're going to start the bell in just a second. These guys are going to move around the room, do some shadow boxing. Ready and go. You can throw whatever techniques you want to. Be sure you're not going as hard as you can right now. This is the very first exercise of the warm-up. We're just elevating that heart rate a little bit, starting to breathe a little bit harder. Obviously practicing good technique. Very good. Notice they're not abandoning their body sponsorship just because they're not hitting anything. They're still practicing good rotation, pivoting on their back foot on the cross. Very nice. Over halfway done. Keep going. Whatever techniques you want to. Even ones that you're not sure about yet, throw some elbows in there, knees. 10 seconds, keep going. Okay, in 5 seconds we're going to do mountain climber planks. And go all the way in the plank position. So they're in the plank position on their forearms, and now they're going to step up to the push-up position and then repeat that process. Very, very simple exercise. We're only doing this 30 seconds total. We're already 10 seconds in. Very good job, guys. Good steady pace. Don't forget to switch which arm is stepping up first and all that good stuff. We're going to do some ballistic stretches after we stand up. 5 seconds. When we stand up, we're going to be doing front kick ballistic stretches. So everybody stand up, have one leg behind you, swinging your leg up to get a good stretch. Do the same leg, and then I'll have you switch in a second. So we usually use our rear leg. So obviously they're doing this from their good self-defense stance with their hands up and hands open, elbows in towards their sides. This is not a kick that we would ever actually strike anything with. This is just to get a stretch in the hamstrings, the calves, the glutes. Okay, let's go ahead and switch. So other leg now, using the rear leg for a good balance. Awesome job, guys. Keep going. Couple more reps. Awesome, so let's switch the stance again. So now using the rear leg, we're simply going to be circling the hips. So now I'm going to bring my leg towards my other leg and then up and around. So it looks like this. I'm just lubricating my hip joints, getting them warmed up and loosened up to help prevent injury in the hip. Ready and go. Same leg. Again, for balance and for proper body alignment, we're using the rear leg only, and notice they're keeping their hands up. This is obviously to practice protecting yourself, but this is better for their balance as well. If their hands are just kind of flailing around, they might find themselves off balance. Let's go ahead and switch stance and go. So they might be getting a little bit of a ballistic stretch out of their hamstrings, but this is mainly for the hip joints. Very, very important joints. Couple more reps. Very good. Now go ahead and cross your arms for me, please. We can keep our palms pointing down the entire time. If you do want to increase the stretch, we can simply point the palms up as we go back. So we're going crossing them side to side. You can also switch which arm is on top. Now let's go up and down, loosening up the shoulders, stretching out the chest a little bit, warming up the back. Very nice. Now I want you to go ahead and reach the very center of your back, reach over, grab your tricep, and stretch. If you need to increase this stretch a little bit, you can simply lean away from the arm that's being stretched at the moment. Very good. Switch. Awesome job. Okay guys, relax for me please. The next exercise we're going to be doing for an entire minute, it's kind of like I'm doing a plank with one arm, and then I'm going to be out sideways. So I should have all of my abdominal muscles tight right now as to keep my body at this diagonal angle. Now I'm just going to simply relax a little bit to allow my waistline to draw towards the floor, and then I'm going to squeeze my obliques. These are called oblique crunches, so I'm letting them drop down and then squeezing the obliques. We're going to do this over and over again. We're going to do this for 1 minute, so obviously 30 seconds on one side, then we're going to switch to the other side, do that for 30 seconds. It's very important, especially when we're doing abdominal work, that you're doing this at a consistent pace. If you do it really, really fast, that lactic acid is going to build up in your core way too early, and you're not going to be able to complete the full minute. So let's go ahead and assume that position, guys. And then on the bell, I want you to start doing those oblique crunches at your own pace. Ready, and go. Doing this for a whole 30 seconds on this side. Be sure that your elbow is mostly underneath your shoulder. You don't want it way out here or way in here. Notice they're supporting their free hand on the hand that's on the ground. That's perfectly acceptable. Only 10 more seconds on this side. No big deal. And switch. Other side now. Should be totally fresh on this side of your abs. Good steady pace. Very nice. 20 seconds left. After this exercise, we're going to be moving directly into reverse crunches. Reverse crunches. 10 seconds. Keep going. And time. Very good. I'm going to have you guys just sit crisscross for a moment. Now, to do reverse crunches, I'm going to face away so that you can see properly. I'm going to make a diamond with my hands and just put it on the small of my back. So as I lay back on that, I'm going to keep my legs together and keep my legs straight. I'm going to bring them up, and then I'm going to squeeze my abdominal muscles to get my backside off of my hands for a brief second. So I'm all the way down, up, and then I bring my backside off of my hands. So these guys are going to be doing that for 30 seconds, squeezing hard. Ready, and go. Very nice. It's a little bit harder, but we're only doing it for 30 seconds. And then we will be totally warmed up and ready to do an awesome drill class today. Very good technique. Keeping those, if you want to make it a little bit more difficult, add a little bit of coordination to it, you can point your toes and try to keep them directly in line with each other, not let them move. Only a few more seconds. Ready, and time. Very good. Go ahead and stand up for me, please. Okay, you should have an elevated heart rate. You should be breathing pretty hard. You should have a pretty good sweat going on and be ready for an awesome drill class today. Okay guys, now let's actually get to our workout. Now, this being your first drill class ever, the whole point of this is taking what you've already learned in your previous lesson and just applying it to a little bit more intense drills. Now, as you do drills, the point is training your body how to recognize what is happening and then reacting appropriately. Anything that you do in Krav Maga, in order, because we're practicing for a real life situation here, where it's a reality-based system. So if it's not done with lots of intensity, it's not correct. You can have good body sponsorship, you're rotating your body, you're doing the movements correctly, but if you're doing it slowly and with, if you're lacking intensity, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. So have the utmost intensity possible, also keeping in mind your physical fitness level and safety and training. We don't want to hurt it, we don't want to go so hard that we lose control and accidentally hit our training partner or something like that. So the very first drill we're going to be doing today is going to be, we're practicing the movement. So we talked about stepping, dragging, whichever direction I want to go, the foot that's closest to that direction must move first, and then the other one follows. Now we call this step and drag. When we're doing it slowly, I kind of drag, but then it's almost like a hopping motion when we're going a little bit faster. The main thing to remember is your feet can get wider but not closer together. At the same time, one person is going to be the aggressor with some focus mitts or just holding up your hands if you don't have focus mitts, and then they're going to ask for a certain punch by holding up that mitt. If you have boxing gloves, obviously that'll help your wrist to not hyperextend or bend improperly, and it'll also protect your knuckles. So guys, if you can go ahead and get that gear on for me, please. So Zach is going to have the boxing gloves on while Matt has the focus mitts. So a really important tip here is if I'm hitting Matt's mitts here, I don't want to hit the same side mitt. I always hit the opposite side mitt. So it's my right hand to his right hand, my left hand to his left hand. There's several different reasons for doing that. Mainly it's good body sponsorship, but it's also protecting his shoulder. If he simply holds this way out here and I'm hitting it and really making his arm go back, it's going to really wear down on his shoulder over time. So he's going to hold it in his center line, and he's going to meet me in the middle with some force. So it looks like this. He's meeting me in the middle. Meeting me in the middle. If he holds it out here, I'm practicing for hitting him in the face or hitting him on the center line of his body. This is not a realistic target, and again, it's going to wear down on his shoulder. So if he were to do left-right, it would be 1, 2. Just my arm, and then body sponsorship, really pivoting on my back foot and using lots of power there. So Matt is going to be the aggressor as he has the focus mitts. Zach has to keep him roughly where he is now, and then as Matt holds up different mitts, Zach is going to do whatever he punches. And we can assume that if Matt holds up a left, it's going to be left-right. Very good. Okay, we're going to do this drill for 1 minute. Very good. Time starts now. Go. Move all around the room. So we're going to start off slow, and then as we start to get a little bit better, we're going to move a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. Yeah, very good. Awesome rotation there. "30 seconds left. Let's shuffle around and kind of trade positions. Shuffling to the other side. Very good. Very nice. Keeping those hands up, throwing the punches from your face. From your face. Very nice. Notice you see his shoulders are rotating right now. That adds a lot of power to his strike. Very good. Only 5 seconds left, Zach. Very good. And time. Go ahead and trade mitts for me, please. Now, as they're trading, one thing to point out again, as they're moving around, okay, we're going to start off slowly. So I'm just moving, taking a step, and then I'm taking a step, and I'm asking for different hits. And then I'm going to be moving a little bit faster. Like I said, we step and drag when we do it slowly, but it's almost like a hop skip when we go a little bit faster. So really be sure to pick up your tempo and then hold on your center line, meeting your puncher in the middle with some force. So you're kind of throwing a similar version of that same punch that you're holding for. So let's go ahead and get started on the bell. Very nice. Good. Keeping those hands up on his face for protection at all times. Very good power shot. Already halfway through. Nice. Very good. Last one. Get one more in. One more. Very nice. Go ahead and put that gear away for me, please, guys. Okay, now this next drill, we're going to really kick up the intensity a notch. We're going to incorporate several different skills all into the same drill. Now, one thing that we use a lot for warm-ups and to really just start working out, we call the sprawl. That's when I'm squatting all the way down so that I can put my hands on the ground. I shoot both feet out onto the balls of my feet, and I touch my belt knot or my belt buckle, if I were wearing one, to the ground, and then I pop back up, and then I can stand. Now, that's a great workout, it's a great warm-up, but we're also practicing defending against the takedown. If somebody shoots in for a double leg or a single leg, if I do a sprawl, I should be able to defend that shot and not get taken down. So we're going to incorporate that. We're also going to do an army crawl, and then we're going to be doing straight punches as well as an instep kick. So if I could have, Matt, if I could have you grab that tombstone for me, please. So the drill looks like this. Have you guys standing sideways. Matt is going to hold this pad firmly so that Zach can do a 1-2 straight. 1-2. Now he's going to reach down and sprawl. After he gets all the way down, Matt's going to widen his feet a little bit so that he can army crawl beneath, stand up and turn, and instep kick. That's one repetition. Now, as we do this, Matt's ready to go. As we do this, we have to be sure that we stand up, and then we do almost like a quarter turn motion with our hands up so that we're ready to throw that instep kick. Don't forget, when I throw an instep kick, I want my hips to come forward. Good body sponsorship as I release my leg. So we're going to do this for about a minute. We're going to be alternating back and forth. Ready and go. 1-2, sprawl, army crawl, back up. Good strong kick. Very nice. Back to the center. Sprawl, army crawl. Very nice. Good. We have to wait until we're balanced before we throw our kick. Good. Be sure you get all the way down on that army crawl. All the way through. Stand up. Very nice. 30 seconds. Only 30 seconds to go. All the way down. That was good. Very nice. Hips forward on that instep kick. Sprawl, crawl, stand and kick. Very nice. 15 seconds. Burn it out. Very good. Last one. Boom! Okay, time. Go ahead and put that pad away for me, please. So that concludes the drills that we're going to be doing as far as combatives are concerned. Now we're going to actually get into some self-defenses. We're going to practice those 1 through 3 wrist grabs. That's the same side, opposite side, and 2-on-1 wrist grabs. Okay, so as we do these wrist grabs and every other drill of our drill classes, be sure to remember, as we demonstrate for 30 seconds or for a minute or for 2 minutes, that's just how long we are demonstrating it for. If you do it exactly the same amount of time that we do, you're going to get a great workout. As your fitness level increases, or maybe you came to us with an awesome physical fitness level anyway, you can simply double that time, you can triple that time. You can do these exercises and drills for as long as you want to. Just be sure you don't do it so long that it starts to become counterproductive because you're so fatigued that you can't finish the class, or you're so fatigued that you can't do the techniques properly. So definitely play with these as you're doing it at home. Play with the amount of time that you're using, but again, only do it to the extent that you can still be productive and do everything correctly. So now, going on to the wrist grabs, like I said, same side, opposite side, and 2-on-1. This is going to be a very, very simple drill. I'm going to have one person standing in the middle. Even if we had 5 guys, we'd just have 5 guys or girls walking around him and doing different wrist grabs. So he's not going to be aware of which wrist grabs are going to happen, and he's not going to be aware whether it's going to be a simple grab and he has to defend, or if I'm going to grab and actually pull on him. Yes, very good. So if we grab and pull versus just grabbing, all that we're really working on for this particular drill in this particular class is I don't want to allow myself to be pulled off balance. If Matt grabs me and tries to pull me off balance, I'm simply going to widen my stance, drop down a little bit. Now it's much harder for him to pull me. This buys me a second or two of time where I can make a fist, reach over, grab it, bring my elbow forward towards his arm, and then disengage in a good stance. So I'm going to have you in the middle first, please. As his eyes are closed, he doesn't know where Zach is. Again, we can use some music to really eliminate the sound of his footsteps. He doesn't know where we are, and Zach is going to grab. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this for about 2 minutes. Go. Same side. Very nice. Good, 2 on 1. Good. And what you'll find as you start doing wrist grabs quickly, as you start doing this drill faster, is that these are actually interchangeable defenses. We definitely teach a same side defense and an opposite side defense on purpose. We teach that those are separate things, but what you're gonna find is, oh, somebody grabbed me same side and then I did the opposite side defense, but it worked anyway. So yes, they do work anyway, which is great, because for something to work in a real life situation, it has to be simplistic like that, but definitely do your best to do the correct defense for the correct attack. 5 seconds, and then Zach is going to be in the hot seat. And time. Zach, you're in the hot seat. Let's do this. Go. Very good. Notice he widened his base. He lowered his center of gravity, made it much harder for Matt to pull him off balance. He stayed up, and he stayed able to defend himself. Very nice. Very good. 20 seconds in. Awesome. Good. I love that you're keeping your attacker in front of you. You're turning. You're using good body sponsorship by rotating your body as you get out of these wrist grabs. Nice. Always disengage and go to a defensive stance, defensive position. And he's looking around, being aware of his surroundings. Not going to trip over anything. By stepping and dragging, he shouldn't trip over anything anyway. If his foot bumps into something, he should simply stop. Only 3 seconds. One more. Let's do one more. And time. Very good job, guys. Okay, awesome. So 1 through 3 wrist grabs. Like I said, you could do that drill for as long as you wanted to. We had them each do 1 minute in the hot seat, or 1 minute actually being the person that's being grabbed. Now I wanted to go ahead and go over a new variation of the 2-on-1 grab. 2-on-1, if Matt's grabbing me here, 2-on-1, obviously, as we said in our previous class, I'm not really worried about him punching me in the face right now because both of his hands are occupied. I also need to remember that he can squeeze as hard as he wants to. It might be uncomfortable for my arm, but my arm isn't going to get choked out. He's not going to, do serious damage just by squeezing me super hard. The main threat here is me being pulled off balance. He has a really good grip on my arm. I definitely don't want that to happen. So if I widen my base and lower myself, it's more difficult. So at least I don't get jerked off balance and I'm not able to do my defense. Now, what we've done before is we made a fist and then we reached in between his two arms, bring the elbow towards the attacker, and then disengage very quickly. Now, sometimes, based on how tall they are, how short they are, maybe he's standing up on a curb, whatever the case might be, it might actually be difficult for me to reach up and over in between his hands, but sometimes it's easier for me to just reach underneath here. That's perfectly fine. So I want you to think it's basically the same thing as the same side wrist grab. If we can imagine that this is really the active grabbing hand or arm, and this is just a supportive arm, I'm simply going to grab my fist, and I really need to be sure to get my elbow all the way in between his arms. So not just to his arm as before, but all the way in between his arms. So it looks like this, and now I'm out. Now, my body does come down, my face comes a little bit closer only momentarily, which again I'm not really worried about because both of his hands are occupied, but I definitely don't want to do that for very long. I want to immediately be stepping and dragging, not crossing my feet, getting my hands up and disengage. So one more time, reaching underneath this time as I widen my base, elbow forward, and then out. So let's see what that looks like. Let's just drill this 2 for 2. So Zach is going to do it twice and then Matt's going to do it twice. Very nice. Good. Good job widening your base. One more time apiece. Awesome job, and time. And just have you guys stand over here. Now that you have a new variation for the 2-on-1 wrist grab, feel free to drill that for as long as you want to. We are going to go ahead and do a cool down right now. We do ballistic stretches or active flexibility at the beginning of a class, and now we're going to do more of a static stretching routine. So what I want us to do first is simply widen out our legs. We're going to squat down with a straight back, and now we're going to push on the inside of our legs. So some people, based on your flexibility level, you might do something like this and push out. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can just use your elbows. You can even anchor your hands to your ankles and push out on your knees. Breathing deeply, starting to lower that heart rate now. You can go in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now I'm going to go ahead and place my hands on the ground. I'm going to reach far out with one foot, and then I'm going to squat down towards that foot. And it's important that my heel is on the ground so that my toes are facing upward if I can get this low. If you can't quite get this low, if you're simply having to go like this, that's no problem. Having the hands on the ground in front of you for support the entire time. Now let's go ahead and go back to the neutral position and simply squat down on the other leg. Toes pointing up at the ceiling. I can increase this stretch if I want to by simply leaning forward and being sure that my elbow is anchored on the inside of my knee. Deep breaths the whole time. Now we're going to come up to the middle position, and I'm simply going to walk myself back. I can let myself hang. I can anchor myself to the ground. I can anchor myself to my ankles. Whatever is comfortable for you. Now I'm going to support myself on the ground. Go ahead and go down to the kneeling position. So just sitting on your ankles if you can. We're here. I'm going to take my hand palm up. I'm going to grab my fingers and stretch my fingers back towards myself. Just stretching out those forearms. Obviously when we're palm heel striking or punching or doing anything like that, we're putting a little bit of stress on the forearms, so it's important to stretch them out so they don't tighten up too much after our training. Now we're just going to do that same thing on the other hand, grabbing the fingers, pulling them back towards yourself, exposing the underside of your arm. Breathing deep. Now back on our original hand, I'm simply going to grab the back of my hand this time and then kind of roll my elbow out. So I'm going here, stretching the top of the arm now. Let's do that same thing on the other hand, grabbing the top of the hand, rolling the elbow through. Now I'm going to support myself on my own feet or on the ground next to me, and we're going to lean back for a quadricep stretch. So I'm leaning and stretching out my quads. Just go as far back as comfortable for you. Sometimes you have to spread your feet out a little bit. I prefer to go not quite to the extent of my flexibility at first, get a few deep breaths in, and then maybe I can go back down to my elbows. Now we're going to slowly walk ourselves back up. Go ahead and stand. Let's rotate one arm over so that we're stretching out our shoulder. Breathing in deeply to the bottom of your lungs. Now it's going to switch to the other arm. And time. So these are just a few examples of ways that you can stretch out your muscles in your body after working out to ensure that you can recover more adequately from your workout and not tighten up. We all as individuals have certain things that get really tight. Maybe your lower back or your legs get really tight after, or even all the time from a workout, and you can take as much time as you need to stretch out what you need to as an individual. We hope you had a wonderful class today, and we will see you next time. Thank you.